What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you during a hunt?
So I was like halfway to full draw and the sear broke and I punched myself in the face.
And that hurts so bad, man.
Especially when I punch, because I've been told I have a really like a Mike Tyson like punch. Not my words, someone else's. Liar! But still,
bullshit.
That's why we're good. We're good together.
Stand clear.
Hold on a second, Matt. Will you do this, please?
All right, welcome back to another edition of the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast, brought to you by DeerCast. I'm Matt Drury, your co-host. That is Tim Chelsvik.
Tim Chelsvik. I was checking there. I don't think some of these people are standing clear. Every episode we tell them stand clear. I don't think they do.
I thought you were checking to see if they're watching, which also they may not be doing.
See anybody? Where's everybody at?
All right, so this week we got a sad one. Bittersweet is right. So we got Scott Helf.
That's not the first time that's happened.
That's the second time that's happened. I don't know. Never mind.
That's all right. We've only spent 5 years together.
He's got a bloody tongue. What can you expect? Matt, so just a heads up for you guys. Matt injured his tongue.
That sounds bad.
I
wish there was a great story here.
Ahead of the show today, he was applying ointments, balms,
or
soothing creams.
It's all good.
I don't know what you got.
So I have a speech impediment. That's why. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even going to get into what happens.
Matt has an addiction, and the addiction has hurt him finally.
It's called Ice Cube gum. Apparently, if you eat too much of it, you get cut.
I mean, there are worse things in life to be addicted to. I mean, you got the fentanyl thing running around out there.
Good point. All right, so we're a couple of things we're going to dive into right out of the gate here. So first of all, Scott's on here because
Scott Heminger.
There's a special reason. See, we'll get into it.
There's a special region he's heading to.
But first of all, I want to say we only got like 3 or 4 once this airs, we only got like 3 or 4 days left for you guys and gals to enter into that first Phorm Outdoors, Drury Outdoors turkey hunt sweepstakes. So it's a chance to win $7,000 worth of gear. I got an example here.
He's got a gun.
The coolest gun. I bought one of these too.
It's not this exact gun, but it is a Winchester SXP that you'll be entered in for a chance to win. This one is a special 50th anniversary NWTF version, so it's a little bit different. It's in the new bottomland. It's got that OD green, so it's pretty. It's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, but what you will be getting is a Winchester SXP, and I believe Mossy Oak Obsession, and even this part that's on it from Leupold.
The little loop of the little red dot from Leupold.
Yeah, so you'll be getting a red dot on yours as well from Leupold. So it's pretty awesome, man. It's a great. That's just one of the items. We got the entire Finisher series from Blocker Outdoors. We got blinds, muddy ground blinds, stealth cams. We got HS DoD signature series calls, muddy boots, like literally.
And the mouth calls are brand new. They're not used.
They're not Tim's. So literally anything you can think of, the ammo, the Winchester Longbeard XR.
And if you don't kill a turkey on this turkey hunt, Matt will personally take you to a Walmart and buy a Butterball turkey.
There you go.
Either way, you're leaving with a turkey from
That's
Missouri.
right.
If they struggle to kill a turkey where this is happening,
they're lousy with them out there.
There's something going wrong.
Yeah. Well, stranger things have happened. Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. So it's going to be Aaron Bennett is the main guide. Myself, Ben Stallman will be filming it. We'll be producing the hunt. And we're going to smash up spot. I mean, it's loaded with longbeards, and it's right here in the St. Louis area. So we'll have a link in the show notes where you can go to the First Phorm Outdoors page, the sweepstakes page, and enter. It's like for like $10 you can enter into this thing. I think like the whole purpose is, hey, try out one of their products, a 4-pack of the energy drinks or the protein sticks, which I'm addicted to.
I recommend the sharp cheddar.
Yeah,
that's
sharp
the good
cheddar.
one.
It's
That's
good. So
Cut your tongue on the sharp
relatively low barrier to entry, and your odds are extremely, extremely good right now.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is like, hey, think about like this. You go to NWTF, like a local chapter banquet, and they always have a gun going around that you can put in $20 for or
Yep.
whatever, like a sweepstakes. And you don't think twice about it. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll throw in 20 on that. That's basically what this is.
Only this time you get something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you're
a
actually
lot of
getting
stuff.
Yeah, regardless,
You
you're
will get
buying
something.
you're buying a product. And there is a free way to enter, so don't want to confuse anybody. You can mail in a 3x5 sheet. The rules are there.
Yeah.
But the best way to do it is to just buy a couple products, relatively low barrier to entry. It's a raffle chance at a $7,000 prize package.
Yeah.
So that's the way to look at it. Your odds are extremely great right now.
Mhm.
I think it ends like March 16th or 17th, somewhere in there. 17th, I think.
So activate, like do it now. Don't forget about it because
Yeah.
you will.
Okay, now that
All
we
right.
got the business out of the way,
Yeah, the bittersweet here. So
they say all good things must come to an end. And
mhm.
that's where I'll leave
Here we
this
are.
here. Scott, pick it up from there.
Well, as you guys can see, I kind of changed the sign out here
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
I've still got another week, but I've
As of us filming this,
as of us filming it, I've got 1 week left here at Drury Outdoors. I've decided to step down from my position, move back home,
take his talents elsewhere.
Yep,
As
go
LeBron said.
go beach down there. No, but I'm moving back closer to home. Going to be working with my dad. He's got his electrical contracting business up and running.
Mhm.
Says he's really busy and he needs some help. And
And that's something you did in your past life.
yeah,
right?
yeah, I've done that in the past. I used to be a part-time guy, and then I kind of got the bug to get into the filming and hunting. So it was like part-time electrical, and then I was working for free to learn all of the ins and
Not
outs.
here. We
Not
pay
here.
him.
Yeah, they paid us. My previous job just to even get in this industry. I did a lot of stuff
You
freelance.
paid
and
your dues.
paid my
Yeah.
dues, learned everything I needed to learn, and that led me to this, which has been awesome.
It's
So,
bittersweet because just this week, was it this week? I think we got a notification through the it's called Paylocity that it was his 5-year work anniversary. I was
Yep.
like, dang.
yep, that was March 4th.
Like,
so.
that stings. He's
It's
leaving in 2
crazy
weeks.
how
Yeah.
quickly 5 years has gone by.
Yeah.
Scott and I had been buddies for years ahead of him coming to work at Drury Outdoors. And I remember there was something we were just in need of an editor. And
We had a guy leave and we needed
That's
somebody to
Yep.
replace him.
And so I asked Scott, like, hey, are you interested in getting into the outdoor industry full time? Send me a hype reel and we'll show it to Mark. And I remember we were sitting back in your office, Matt, with Mark, and Mark looked at like 5 seconds of one of his cuts and just said, hire him. Just
see,
hire him.
That right there, that was all strategy.
Ooh.
100% strategy. So, in talking with Tim,
Ah.
I figured out like, okay, Mark really loves turkey hunting. He's a great deer hunter, but he loves turkey hunting. So I don't know if you remember watching it, but that first, the first couple clips of that little hype reel that I made, it was like turkeys roosted in the tree and then pitched down and then gobble like
Yeah.
right in your
Smart.
face. So
Here's what I
lead
recall.
with the hook.
We had an event I had to go to in Springfield, Missouri, and I think, maybe the day before, 2 days before, you told me about Scott. And I guess we looked at this reel or whatever, and so I call him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna be down there. You can make it over to the event that I'll be at. I'd love to chat with you real quick and go from there. And he come over there and basically I hired him on the spot. I'm like, yeah, can you start Monday? He's like, no, I need 2 weeks. But,
I got to pack up my life.
yeah. So
And then his first day at work, he called me
Oh,
in the
man.
morning. He moved down to like the Forest Park area. You were staying with a buddy.
Yep.
And his truck broke down.
Yep.
on Monday morning, the first day of,
work.
reporting to work. He's like, hey, can you come get me?
Yep. Dead
and that's not
battery.
close to where you live.
No.
No. And it was like broke down on an entrance ramp to 64 or so, like not a
Yeah,
great place.
Not great at all. I was like, well, my truck's going to get stolen here in about 30 minutes after Tim picks me up.
This
But-
awesome truck that just broke down.
Yeah, no, but
Here
it all
we
worked
go.
out.
Oh,
It all
yeah.
worked out. We got it towed over here, and I worked on it in the parking lot. Got it all fixed up, and it
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah.
I love
and,
you,
and then
Scott.
like it didn't take long, but you kind of jumped into the social media side and filming and editing and
Farming.
everything.
Everything.
I mean, the kind of jack of all trades,
Yep.
master of all of them also.
Master, I don't know about that. I'm not gonna take that one, but
Scott was extremely. I said it. We have a private Facebook group for the Drury Outdoors team
Oh,
members.
what?
And he's sorry, Tim. Shit, didn't mean to say that out loud. You're not in it. Anyways, so he said that he was, leaving here in a couple weeks. And I mentioned in the post, I was like, man, he will be missed immensely. He was a very pivotal part of our success at the company and my success personally in the last 5 years. And so from a company perspective, we'll miss him, but personally, I'm going to miss you extremely, a ton, because it's just we've spent a ton of time together in a blind or a tree or, whatever over the last 5 years, probably
and
more than you'd like to.
Great moments
have had
mixed in there. I mean, going to be a lot of stories I remember for the rest of my life. So
yeah. So, and leading into this, we put a question over on YouTube on the Deer Outdoors YouTube channel. There's a community page, and we've started to engage into that a little bit more. And the guys, Matt Arndt and Joe Tierney, put a couple posts in there and kind of asked if there was anything that the viewers would want to ask Scott on the podcast.
Q&A time.
That's right. So, so there was a couple really good ones.
You're gonna say, and no one had questions.
No,
wouldn't surprise me.
No, there was some pretty good ones. So we'll just take a couple of the funnier ones here. Let's go with this one from M. Lawson Hunts. If your salary is bonused based on Matt's success, how have you supplemented your income? Just kidding, by the way. You guys are awesome. I follow and enjoy all the content.
Oh, well, if my salary was bonus based, 2022 would have been a really rough year. That would be the ramen noodle year.
That's a brutal one.
But in 2023, I think we were eating ribeyes and fillets, and we had a really good year.
Steaks tonight, son.
There's a balance to it, but
honestly, outside of 22, all of our years were good.
Yeah.
We had some fun hunts.
Yeah, for sure.
22.
I still think this last year was our best yet, though, in my opinion.
Well, we filmed and killed. You tagged out.
Yep.
I tagged out. So there's 4. Cameron's hunt 5. I filmed Aaron Bennett 6. And then like Doug and Kate at the least, they both killed. That's on our setups.
Yep.
7, 8.
Well, and I'm still thinking about like the turkey stuff in the spring. Me,
3.
you, Cam.
Yeah.
So
the fact that you guys killed on the last day of the Missouri archery season, I can't think of a cooler way to cap off a season.
For sure. Yeah. Shortly after that, Scott quit.
Leave on a high note. Yeah.
I gotta tell you something. I'm like, no.
Hey, that's better than me coming in like November and saying, hey, Matt, I know the run is
he
coming.
let us get through the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got another one here. Let's see. What's the biggest factor? This was from Adam Smith, 4878. What's the biggest factor in a successful hunt? How many hours of quote unquote woods time per harvest? If you could change anything to help improve yours and Matt's success, what would it be? I'll stop there. He's got more, but let's just stop with that part.
So like the biggest factor to success, obviously you got to put in a lot of seat time, but how much seat time per deer? That's kind of a tough question. But
for us, a lot.
For us, we do put in a lot of time, but we've also, over the past couple of years, we've really dove into like the trail cameras and utilizing those to make decisions more on what spots we go to and when. What was the rest of that question? Biggest factor in the successful hunt? How many hours of wisdom?
What would you change, if anything, to improve yours and Matt's success? What would it be?
Personally, I wish we had more time out of the office to work on our spots and on the farms to dial them in even more. Because with us being here at the studio, we're always taking care of a lot of business stuff, and that all still has to be handled. But if we had more time to just mess around on the farm and plant food plots.
Well, frankly, if it wasn't for your time on the farm, I wouldn't have any spots ready to go because I'm stuck in here at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's why I said you've been a great part of the company's success, but my success personally has very much been tied to the efforts that you put in, because you might spend a half work day at the farm or the lease or whatever, and I'm here at work. So that's been tremendously helpful, and I'm not, that doesn't get lost on me. Believe me. We'll put a plan together,
for sure,
in the office, but then you go execute it a lot of times.
Yeah. And really like the planning side has been the easiest part, especially with DeerCast and the maps and all that stuff now, like the way we can just, here's what I'm thinking for this plot. Here's where I want this blind. Like we just kind of share stuff back and forth, and I just go out to the farm and get it done. So that's made it super easy.
All right. We got a question over on YouTube from Newbie, I think. What's the most annoying thing about Matt? What's your favorite thing about Matt? I can think of
Most
many
annoying
things.
thing about Matt.
Should my wife be asked this?
Man, we actually have Miranda on the line.
Be a long list of the first one.
Okay, are you sitting
I
down?
mean, there's really not a whole lot that's annoying. I will say the amount of protein sticks and farts in the blind that can wear on a guy over time.
Can wear on a guy.
But no, what do I like most about Matt? He's very honest, very upfront. Like he knows what he wants and what he wants you to do, and there's really no hidden agendas or anything like that. It's just real.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and like he's a very good leader as far as it goes to like what we're doing on the farm or what we're doing in the office. Like there's a master plan.
You're leaving, right?
This is his exit interview.
I am not brown nosing at all.
I'll give you $20 later. Okay. Do you wish you could hunt more yourself, or do you like being a cameraman and enjoying the hunt? That's from Cooper Shannon 8194.
Double Shannon.
I do like both, which is odd for a lot of people. I know in the past I've heard that it's hard to find a good camera guy because every camera guy just wants to hunt. So one of the things I've prided myself on is being able to put myself in that back seat and be totally cool with filming. Like
Scott's camera first, like his priority, like personal priority has always been great. Like, yeah, I'm here to film. But in that token, I've always tried to make sure you had like 22 sucked for both of us.
Yeah.
But you had chances that year too.
For sure. And I mean, I missed short G210 that year. You know, the opportunities come if you're willing to put in the work, but I've never been afraid to just stay behind the scenes in the camera. So
100%.
do I wish I could hunt more? Yeah, who doesn't? But I also understand my role and totally cool with it.
I mean, the guy has f-stops tattooed onto his forearm.
That I do. Yep.
So
camera nerd.
he likes shooting pictures.
Yeah.
And video.
I feel like I've shot a few good ones over the years.
Oh yeah,
just a few.
Heck yeah.
For sure. So last good question I got here. GVids23 says, what's the hardest part about being a cameraman and having to try and catch all the details and clips of the hunt? Not to mention all the hiking and gear you have to carry around. What's the preparation for a hunt, whether it's a morning or an evening hunt? Much love, guys.
Okay, so preparation for a hunt. Number one, I've got a lot of cameras that we run between the main angles, the side angles, the Tacticams, all that stuff. So full batteries and empty cards is what I like to have before each hunt. Then obviously hike all that in. That's really not too much of a problem. 50-pound pack, just
it's all in a Tenzing pack.
Yeah. So that's made it pretty easy. All right, you got to reread this because these are like multi-part questions, Matt.
Dang it, Scott. Hold it.
How do you capture all the details?
How do I capture all the details? Okay, so the hardest part is like with these blinds, being able to be flexible in what window you're going out of, making sure all the windows are clean, things like that. This last hunt that Matt and I had for Titan, it was like there was a scenario where I'm holding the window with one hand, have the camera here, and I'm going across my body, and the camera's out of focus.
You know what
so
Mark, we know what Mark would call you.
A tripod.
I'm not gonna
only
say
Wade.
Yeah, but like there's situations that you get into like that where it's like you just feel like you're locked in a certain situation. So you got to be able to understand how your camera works and functions to be able to get back to where you're in the proper space, focus wise, exposure wise, all of those things. So like just understanding some of those challenges and not being freaked out in the heat of the moment when that happens and botching a shot.
And I think back to the 5 years, I can only think of one time where you were probably overly excited, and it was the very first hunt we were on in Ellsbury. And about a 2-year-old walked out.
Yeah, a 2-year-old 8-point, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I remember you coming back from those hunts during the first season, just being amazed at how many deer you were seeing. Because you're coming from southern Missouri, where you're happy to see a buck.
Yeah, and I had never hunted over a food plot, and I mean, I had probably never seen a 2 or a 3-year-old buck in the woods. It's like I see does and fawns and an occasional spike or something like that.
And that farm, I mean, it's not like going to Mark or Terry's place. Like that's really like going to, it's nuts. Like on the right weather, you might see 30, 40 deer on a field, and here, if we were seeing 5, 6, because at that point it's probably my 5th year hunting that spot, and it was starting to get a little bit better, but deer density isn't as high. It just isn't as high, as like their spot. So I'm used to hunting at Terry's. And then like my stuff here in the St. Louis area, it for what it is, it's great. Okay.
Yep.
But then if you think about it from where Scott was coming from, Southwest Missouri, it was like me going to Terry's place, right?
Yeah,
it
world,
was just
world of difference.
game changer.
And I remember like the first time that I ever got to go to Terry's or Mark's, like I filmed Mark one night. I've been with Terry a few times, but being on their farms and seeing how that all works out, oh my gosh.
It's a different world.
Like I got to see Mick Dundee a year before Terry shot him.
It's 216.
Having him at 20 yards and Terry pulling out the red card. No, Scott, you can't shoot him. But
yeah, because you were hunting, right?
They were filming me. Yeah.
Oh, it was our crappy 2022 season.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like they're pulling out all this, and Terry's like, there's not a deer on this farm I want to shoot right now. So let's film Scott. And Forrest was filming me, and we still didn't kill anything.
Yep. Saw tons of great deer, but there were a few that he wanted to keep in the pocket, which I'm glad he did.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Yeah.
So
a lot of good times. Probably one of the funnest hunts was on that river farm.
Yeah.
So Scott is filming, I'm hunting, and we're in a tree stand. The Mississippi River is the backdrop, like literally 40 yards behind us.
Yeah. If
that
yeah.
20, 30 yards.
Yeah.
And we got this beautiful, lush biologic radishes.
That was last bite in the south plot. Yep.
In front of us. And it's almost like if you're thinking about a lake, a little cove, like it was a little cove, a little oasis amongst this area. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I just had a hunch that a deer that I was after was going to be in there. But one of the ones that Scott was after could have easily showed up. So it's archery season. It's gun season. Yep. We're in a tree stand.
We weren't in there very long either.
Yeah. We see out of nowhere, we see a buck and Scott's filming him. He's like, I think it's the V8.
Wasn't it pretty early in the afternoon?
It was.
Yeah, it was. This is at like 3:15, 3:20 in the afternoon. Yeah. We climb the tree, we get set up, and I look up the edge of the river there, and I see a tree just kind of doing this, going back and forth. I'm like, oh, there's a buck up there. I can't make out what it is. So I get the camera, I zoom way in on him, and I'm like, I see a rack, and I'm like, oh, he's pretty decent. And then he kind of turns, and I could see his brows. And we had names for these bucks. Yeah. And that one, V8. He had his brows, they were kind of just V'd out. So we call him V8 for 8-point. And so at that point, I knew it was him.
It's a V8 buck.
V8 buck. He's coming.
I was like, give me that
right
camera.
In the corner of the plot. Yeah, so we did the swap in the tree. And at that time, I think I already had the Tacticams rolling.
Yeah,
so
it's all live.
4 or 5 different cameras, the live action of us transitioning those things across the tree to each other. And
he comes out bow range. He's at like 20 steps.
Yeah.
And he's slightly quartering too. We're shooting at 350 Legend.
Yep.
And Scott shoulders the gun and he's like, I was like, don't shoot. Wait for him to get broadside. And he wouldn't do it. And he sees us. He's looking right at us. And I was like, shoot him.
Yeah.
How much, when he's that close, how much of the deer are you seeing in the scope? Like, is it all brown?
So the Leupold scope that we have, I think the VX Freedom, it's got that little dial on it so you can adjust it. And normally we've got it maxed out for distance. But at that point, like I saw how close he was and I just started kind of rolling it back a little bit. So when I put it on him, I could see the top of his back and the bottom of his belly. I couldn't see the rack, which I'm kind of glad that I couldn't because I think that would have messed with me a little bit.
At the time, it was your biggest buck.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah, but he was kind of quarter too. So Matt said, shoot him. As he's staring at us. And so I just kind of put it right there on that front shoulder thinking for the exit and put it on him and he didn't go 50 yards.
Yeah, 40, 50 yards.
Yeah, piled up.
We've had a ton of those kind of moments. Like, I think because we're kind of stumbling our way through a lot of times. We're not professionals. We're not Mark and Terry. We're not those guys. A lot of times it lends itself for some fun moments in the moment of truth.
It's like watching college ball versus the pros.
It's what you're seeing is very genuine. A lot of like intense moments, probably self-inflicted a lot of times, for lack of being ready or even though we think we're ready, things happen quickly. It seems like it always happens quickly, but we've always had those kind of moments that have turned out to be fun moments. And because Scott's so great on the camera side, we have so many angles. And that's the part I really like, about hunting with Scott. He's always ready. I don't have to worry when he says on him, we don't really communicate much until the shot. I'm like, still on him?
Still
Yep.
good. Yep.
And,
Okay.
Or he'd tell me if he isn't.
Yeah.
That I'm going to miss, besides just the friendship, obviously.
Sure.
But like in the moment of truth, when you're filming your hunts, to have a guy that I don't have to worry about what he's doing is everything.
Priceless.
Because I'm worried about what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah, there's enough to worry
I'm
about.
not good enough to not have to worry about what I'm doing, ranging and what the angles and all that stuff. And so, that's probably, I think, one of the funnest hunts, but we've had
We've had several. And like what you were just talking about, that reminds me of our Illinois hunt. And like, I felt like on that hunt, we really built a big trust as like cameraman hunter right there.
It was maybe year 2. That was year 2.
I think that was
that
year
over
2.
at Chase's place.
Yeah.
Chase and Brooks.
My best deer since the best year I've ever had. That was the best deer I've killed since then.
Which I can't remember what he scored. 158.
Something like that.
Yeah.
158.
But anyways, this deer came out, ran around, chasing does all over the place, and then he ran down the right side of the blind, and Matt can't see him
during archery season.
Yeah, no clue. And then I see the buck spin around, and he's coming back. So I'm like, Matt, come draw right now.
Yeah, I
he had
didn't
no
see
clue what was going on.
I just draw. I knew he's.
Yep, he knew I was
enough.
not messing with him.
Yeah.
He walked right out. You put a perfect shot on him.
Walked out, quartering away. He was kind of trotting, quartering away. He was chasing does in this little cut corn, and we were in a muddy blind. And it was right there at the beginning of the rut. It was the late October, maybe the 26th or somewhere in there. We had already killed at Ellsbury early in the season, like
Holyfield.
October 6th.
Yep.
With this is the first year we were with Matthews, and so deer's quartering away. He's walking off, and I just kind of guessed on yardage and zipped it double lunged, and he ran 50 yards. And the excitement from both of us at that moment after the shot, the reaction. I mean, that's the stuff it's like, holy crap, did this just happen?
Yeah, we both
you're
just
legitimately
looked at each other wide-eyed, like,
yeah.
Dude.
I was about to say that.
That's mine. I'm
every time
trademarking that.
Scott kills something, he's like, dude, and I'm like, dude.
Homie.
It's annoying for the viewer, I'm sure, but
we even talked about it like before rifle season this year. We were talking about it in studio, and I was like, I'm gonna not say it this next time. I'm gonna not say it, and then we go out and.
Because you said it for archery season. We split up this year in the beginning. Aaron Bennett with you on my new farm, which, by the way, I'm selling. Anybody's interested? Listing should hit this week. You guys go up there. I go to the lease, and you guys, just like we planned, man.
Yep.
The deer walked out 20 yards.
Night one. Couldn't ask for a better hunt on that place. So it all worked out. I could have made a little bit of a better shot on that.
Wasn't that far off though?
No, I was just a touch forward.
Yeah.
But it happens.
You got him.
So we recovered him.
I'm curious. So, like, what are you thinking you're gonna do for deer season 24?
That's not even on my radar yet. I have no clue because I really don't have any spots to hunt back home. I mean, I've got a couple buddies back there that I might get lucky enough to get a little bit of permission to hunt with them.
Sure.
But I'll probably start knocking on doors and trying to find access.
I told him if he films his stuff, just keep filming for jury and turn it in.
Well.
I mean, we'd love to have the content.
Oh
Obviously.
yeah, no. And if I do find a spot and I'm able to get out, certainly that's where my content's coming. So but I'm gonna have to do my homework on that one and find me a good spot. So
always tough.
Scott, even though you're leaving, I'm gonna leave this on the soundboard.
I love you, Scott.
I'm gonna leave both those in memory of Scott.
Perfect.
We're gonna retire your number also.
What's my number?
I don't know.
867-5309.
Hey.
Nice.
Jenny, who can I turn to? Okay. How about we jump into the question of the day to help our buddy Andy out?
All right. So the question of the day is brought to you by Deer Grow. Better food plots, bigger deer. And this comes from the YouTube community page over at Drury Outdoors. Says, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you during a hunt? That's from Andy McCaw, 9065.
He's a real guy.
Okay. All right. What's the worst thing that ever happened to you during a hunt, Scott?
I got this one, and it is super easy to remember and think of, but falling 10 feet from I think it was a hawk blind.
The Keen
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late
That's probably
season.
my worst moment.
That year we killed Broke Brow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not long after that.
Not long.
Maybe
It was
another
like
couple
3
weeks.
nights after that.
3 nights. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably like the worst thing that's ever happened.
So
to me.
this was the scariest thing for sure. Us hunting together. I'm down first on the ground, and Scott's coming out of the blind. This is always how we did it. I went down first.
Yep.
I had my bow, the pack. You come down second. You'd have the camera, but you were also carrying the crossbow because you had a tag. I had a tag. It's So he gets and kind of missteps at the top step, and I hear something up there. I look up, and all of a sudden, here comes Scott slow motion.
Trustful.
Yeah, and so it wasn't like he was gonna fall on top of me, but he kind of leaped.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't fall on the if he
kicked himself.
Yeah, it's
away
like the
from
tongue of that trailer is kind of
Would've
right
hurt.
where the ladder comes
Ooh.
down. And I knew that. And as soon as I started reaching for the rung and I couldn't find the rung. So I'm just falling away. And at that point I just pushed. And I shout out to the Tenzing packs because that thing was loaded down with camera gear.
It was that
and
hang time. It's that one that's
the big
got
kind of
the
the
EVA
solid
foam.
pack.
yeah. It's my favorite one. Honestly.
Yeah, and that was my favorite too. But I pushed myself off the blind. I made it away from the tongue of the trailer, so I was just on the hard.
And all the
frozen
camera
ground.
gear is in that bag.
Yeah, everything's in there, and I land right on that pack. And the crossbow, I think I broke the little stirrup off of it
Yeah,
or
you
something.
did. Yeah.
But
You
other
paid
than
for that
that,
out of your own paycheck.
of course.
So
Of
I
course.
go to him. I'm like, "Are you okay?" Like
Yeah.
instantly, I thought back to Dad
Oh,
falling.
yeah.
5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever it was. And like, I was extremely concerned at that point. I'm like, can you move your toes? Can you move I didn't want to move him.
Mhm.
Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you could break
Yeah.
his back or whatever, or leg. I don't know.
And for me, I'm just laying there on the ground feeling like an idiot. Like, how in the heck did that just happen? Are you kidding me? And it's like, no, I'm fine, Matt. Just
Scott's mad at Matt.
It'd be funny if you just ran away like, oh no, Matt. Scott's
I'll go
hurt.
get the
Let's get
tracker.
outta here.
no.
But I did. I was like, dude, do you need me
Yeah.
to go get the tracker? Do we need to call it whatever? What do we need to do here?
That's high enough to have
For sure.
broken your back. Broken
no,
your neck.
I was super lucky, but I got up and I was a little
Mostly
sore
a
the
knee,
next
ankle,
day. Knee,
kind
ankle.
of situation.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything terrible. I
Yeah.
mean,
So it was certainly
very
scary.
lucky.
But we
For the
went
grace
hunting the
of
next
God.
day, I'm sure.
yep, probably.
Walk
hey,
it
but
off.
it was worth it because we killed Broke Brow a few days later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
got to keep
Jeez.
grinding.
So that's a good one for what's the worst thing that's happened to you.
Yeah. That's
Tim,
it.
what's the worst thing that's happened to you?
This is where I just have to. I'm so thankful that
Knock on wood.
the worst things that happened one time early on in my bow hunting career, I put my stand in a tree that had a poison ivy vine in it, and it was winter, but it still had oil on it. So like the next day, I was wearing a face mask everywhere that there wasn't a face mask. I had poison ivy.
Like a raccoon.
And yeah, it was screwed up. Then years ago, I had I was just starting to use a handheld release, and when I got up into the stand, I was in a climber. Whenever I get up in the tree, it's part of my kind of process to come to full draw, just to stretch out and kind of get used to things. The sear inside that handheld release, I don't remember what brand it was, but it broke. So I was like halfway to full draw, and the sear broke, and so the arrow went flying, I don't know where, and I punched myself in the face.
And that hurts
And
so bad, man.
Especially when I punch, because I've been told I have a really like a Mike Tyson like punch. Not my words, someone else's, but still.
That's why we're good. We're good together.
I stumbled backwards and kind of was leaning into my harness. I was in a climber, so like it was a little. I wasn't gonna
Yeah, a
fall
little
down,
scary,
but
though.
it was like, oh,
Eyes
geez.
watering.
Yeah, I was like, I almost
See
took
stars.
took a tumble here.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thankfully, those are kind of the worst that's happened to me.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
I think the worst thing would be wounding an animal. That's happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
And that is the worst thing. I can remember one time early in my bow hunting career when I graduated college, started hunting again, hunting at Dad's. And it was the first doe, no, maybe the second doe I had shot. He was filming me and I spined her. And that was a really terrible feeling. That's the worst, honestly.
Mhm.
Like I feel, as any ethical hunter should, terrible. And then I kept shooting, to try to,
Yeah.
but just going in circles and just a debacle, as Jim Tomey would say.
Did she bawl at you?
Oh, it was the worst noises, and ultimately we had to slit her throat. It was just a horrible experience, and it was like one of the first times hunting.
Welcome back to bow
Yeah,
hunting, Matt.
but what that made me do is really like, okay, this is, you need to concentrate.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say I've made a couple errant shots since then, but in the span of the years hunted, not terrible. I wish there was zero. It's just not the truth. There's been a couple, and those are always the worst. Probably the worst thing that's happened outside of that turned into the best thing for me was the biggest deer of my life, gnarly. And I said, I don't know. This was right before you started, the year before.
Yep.
And the guy that was filming me, he didn't go on this trip. And so I'm at Dad's and Forrest was filming me. And it was his first year with us. And so we're in two separate trees. It was a early rut hunt, like late October. And it was like 10 a.m. We hadn't seen much for like an hour. And it's always the hunter's call. And, what do I know? Nothing, apparently. And I'm like, okay. I was like, hey, man, we haven't seen anything in a while. It was early enough in October, it was like the maybe 24th, 25th, I forget, 26th, something like that. And I thought, hey, we're on the early end of this. I stayed till 10 o'clock. It's okay to get down. So I drop my bow, and then I look up the logging road, and there's a buck. And then I look again, there's a second buck, and then I look again, and there's this pooner. And so I'm really quick getting my bow back up. Luckily, it was still connected. And I pull it back up, and I knock an arrow. I get all my gear out, rangefinder, all that stuff. All of it was packed up. I get it all out, knock an arrow, and I guess I didn't knock it all the way on the string. And so as soon as that deer got within, I don't know, maybe 30-ish yards, because they were feeding their way back from food to bed in the morning, and they were kind of eating on acorns. And I put tension on I hooked up to the D loop. And as soon as I put a little tension on the string, the arrow just, whoop, it falls to the ground. And I was like, holy shit.
At 30 yards.
For sure. And dead quiet. And so I knock another arrow real quick, obviously. And he ends up, I still to this day swear he thought it was an acorn or something dropping by the tree, because it totally changed his route. And he comes right in front of us.
Come here, buddy. Come on.
7 steps. Put a shot, perfect shot on him, hard shot. And it was the coolest moment ever, but it could have been an absolute disaster.
Like 2 minutes later, you would have been on your way down that ladder.
For sure. So there were several, again, self-inflicted. All my bad stories are just dumb things that I've done because I'm an idiot.
Victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah. And for those of you out there listening, what he said about getting down at 10 o'clock versus 11 or noon, that's something that we've dealt with a few other times too, because you remember splits in the South Timber?
Oh, yeah.
We were almost about to get down, and it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And he's like, nope, we're going to stay another 30 minutes. So I think you learned from that.
That was it. 100%.
And then we stayed another 30 minutes, and then middle of the day, this buck just came out.
About the same time of year.
Right to us.
That late October.
Yeah.
So, because Dad gave me so much crap. And then on 13 on the show, who gets down at 10 o'clock?
He does talk like
he
that.
just dogged me.
Yep.
And so it's like, all right, I'll stay a little bit later next
I'm
time.
going to stay all day from now on.
Yeah. So there's a fine line of when to stay and when to go.
Yep.
Overall, when you think about it, just the number of times that we hunt, we are very, I don't know if I'd say fortunate. We're very careful when we
try
hunt.
to be.
And so that goes a long way. But the odds just get greater of getting hurt or injured when you hunt more.
For sure. I think, looking at like Terry's accident, and then, like I said, that's probably 7-8 years ago. I think it was 2016 or 17, somewhere in there. That really scared all of us, and we've had a couple of team guys have some falls or tree stand accidents over the year. It always scares you. But when it hits close to home like that, like we all have safe lines, all the straps are always checked, and there's a lot of, and to Scott's credit, he's the one that's doing this on our farms.
Yep.
Forrest is the one doing it. Wade and Perry's the ones doing it up there.
Yep.
But they're so careful. Knock on wood again. We've tried to alleviate a lot of that by having the safe lines. We're always connected.
Yeah, and a lot of people safe lines. Oh, well, how do you get them up in the tree safely? It's like, well, they make the lineman's belt and things like that. So
it's one time. That's silly.
It's what's silly?
Getting like are they saying you have to get them up in the tree somehow? So
yeah,
you got to climb.
yeah,
You're connected the whole way.
Yeah. So, but I mean, just anything
put
that
'em
you
up
can do
once
to
and you're-
attach yourself to that tree and make yourself safe. That's the best way to do it, because there's been a lot of scary stuff happen.
Well, I'm old enough now to remember, like growing up, wearing a seatbelt was kind of optional.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a significant number of people who refused to wear seatbelts because they said they would rather be thrown clear of the vehicle than to die inside.
It's a hell of a
It's like, man, I don't know if
process.
you're Superman or something coming through
well.
the
If you
windshield.
think about early days of hunting, most guys weren't using any belts of any kind, but when we were using belts,
that's what we started with.
it was like a damn seat belt. It was around your waist,
Uh-huh.
and
God help you if you needed it.
oh my
Because
God, I can't imagine if you fell from one of those things.
it would just keep you from dying immediately.
Yeah, squeeze you to death in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Spin you
man. I
upside
can't
down.
imagine not hunting with. I don't feel right.
I don't
If
either.
for some reason we forget or something happened, and it's it's like, no, we're not. Let's go to the blind. There's no way we're getting up in that tree if we don't have our harnesses, our muddy harnesses.
That's right. The Wildlife Word this week is brought to you by Tracker Off-Road vehicles built for the love of country. Okay, guys.
And they can recover your body laying on the floor if you fall. Scott,
we got to get him out of here.
get the tracker.
Need
Get
it
to the
now.
tracker.
So, get to the chopper.
No, say it like that, but with tracker. Tim.
Get to the tracker.
Yeah, there you go.
Tracker.
There you go.
You know, we got to do the things and the this and that and the whatnot.
The girly man.
The girly mans. Oh, Scott, you can't hang too long. You have to go do electrical things
I'm
with your
gonna
father.
miss this so much.
Just think of how much fun you're gonna have working with your dad. Look how much fun it's
Yeah.
been for me.
Yeah, take it from Matt.
I had an uncle and a cousin.
boy.
Yeah, no.
You guys can have great fun. Everybody's having so much fun.
It's going to be a small group. I think there's like 3 or 4 guys. And Dad said, as soon as you get down here, I'm going to be gone. It's like, okay, perfect. So
So what's he doing?
going to get new jobs.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to work myself
Selling.
out of a job, so he has to go get more.
Nice. Make
Yep.
that money.
Yep.
Hey,
that's the
hold
goal.
on.
$200 is $200.
Take it from John Odell.
Amen. Amen.
Sweet. All right, we got wild turkeys on the brain. What is the taxonomic order of the wild turkey? Is it A, Galliforms? Is it B, Rodentia? Is it C, Squamata?
Stupid.
Or D, Artiodactylae?
That sounds like some kind of weird dinosaur you made up.
First of all,
Okay. Let me
What
have
is-
it, Matt.
taxonomic.
Remember, it was multiple episodes ago we talked about binomial nomenclature. So
Cool.
you have like kingdom back in high school
Multiple
biology.
episodes ago. That was like years ago, Tim.
I don't know, they all kind of run together
Is
in
this
my
like
head.
family, class, phylum stuff?
Exactly. Kingdom,
Okay.
order, phylum, and it goes on
I
and on,
went to
down
Rolla
to
for a year.
down
Yeah,
to
I didn't learn
genus and
shit there other than how to
species.
drink beer. So,
You drank beer in college?
yeah,
Well, you must have been
A
21 or
lot.
older.
yes.
Anyways,
Hmm.
I have no. I'm not even gonna make
Okay.
it.
I know it's not B because B is rodents.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay.
Galliforms, Rodentia, Squamata, or Artiodactylae.
I'm gonna go with A because
Hmm.
there's an asterisk next to it.
And if you read the description, it clearly says turkeys.
Oh, I didn't even get to that part. I just went to the asterisk.
We're doing a little rejiggering on the backside of the podcast here.
New guys in the corner puking,
We got-
putting together the wildlife word. He gave us the answer on the sheet.
Hey, that's all right.
It
We
seems
need
like
a
a
little help
simple
every
thing,
now and then.
but
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to the show. Yeah. So, wild turkeys belong to the order of Galliforms.
I'll be darned.
You will be.
Okay. All right. Next
Shout
thing.
outs. We
Hold
got some shout outs. So, Turkey Thug 64, which the whole Turkey Thugs thing,
That's Cuz's deal. Don't be careful what you say here. Upsets people.
I just picture like gangsters holding their shotguns sideways with like
Do-rags.
with do-rags, handkerchiefs over their faces,
Way to
and wraparound sunglasses.
way to disparage somebody giving us a shout
Hey,
out.
if you want to
so.
be disenfranchised, give us a shout
Of course, I guess that's what I do every week with the names.
out.
The Rack Pack.
I don't know what nationality this person is, but it's weird. So Turkey Thug 64 gave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. I think he gave us 5 stars.
We don't even have it's just a shout out.
He says, I can't thank you guys enough for a great podcast. Matt and Tim do one heck of a job on interviews. We've had this before.
Fail.
Thank you, Turkey.
So this is a shout out that we've already read.
Yes.
We're desperate. Jim, you're fired. And I'm looking to hire people.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Well, in his defense, he's probably never listened to any of the rest of these episodes.
just like the rest of the Dream Outdoors team.
Yeah.
It's best kept secret around. We do have new Rack Pack members. I personally oversaw this.
Okay. All right. So the Rack Pack is a private Facebook group. It's the 100% Wild Rack Pack over in Facebook. And all you got to do is do it in the search and you'll find it. Every week, Tim gives me a list of names. Every week, I butcher them. Every week, there's a fake one in here. All right. We got Ralph M. Finger. Tim's giggling like a schoolgirl. So Ralph M. Finger. Ralph M. Finger. Scott, am I pronouncing this correctly?
I mean, Ralph M. Finger. Is
I know
how
I
would
have
say
a
it.
disability right now, but
I can't read.
I can't read.
thank you, Mark. We have Jason Mears. We have Nathan Compston. We have Angelo Ebersol. Cool name. Izzy Moocher. Is he Moocher? 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 Is he a mooch?
I don't know.
I hope this is
Izzy
not a real name because
I
I'm
don't know.
Poor Izzy.
Sean Silver. I read that name last week. I'm almost positive. Derek Reed, William Blunt. Blount. I think Ralph M. Finger or
Uh-huh.
Izzy Moocher
Got the old Ralph M. Finger-itis.
are the fake names. Tim, which shall it be?
It's a question I ask myself all the time when I see a buck in the wild. Is he mature?
Is he mature?
Ah, dang it.
Usually the answer is not quite.
Sorry, Ralph.
Ralph's real.
Every week when I screw a real person's name up, they get in the Rack Pack. Hey, I'm real. I'm a real boy. Oh,
That's
and
one of
I'm a
my
big
favorite
boy.
things about the Rack Pack is people feel the need to prove their existence.
I do exist.
That page is really grown, and it is an entertaining.
Yeah, there's
thing
like
to just scroll
2.7,
through there.
2.8 thousand followers in there. I mean, not bad for a band of married men and sometimes women,
Yes.
sometimes
Or
joint
the
accounts.
the joint accounts. Yeah.
Beth has been cruising Facebook Marketplace looking for a new vehicle, a new used vehicle.
Yeah.
And she keeps sending, because I'm kicked off Marketplace. I tried selling
Gun.
some arrows years ago. and
They
got
never let you
flagged.
back?
No.
Come on, Facebook.
It'll
Get your
even
shit
say
together.
like, hey, you might be interested in this item. And I go to click on it and it says, you're not allowed into Marketplace. This decision is final.
Brutal.
But-
They must be into your politics.
Speaking of real people, well, that's a possibility of real people. Every vehicle she sees is like in St. Louis. Like the name is Hussein Mohammed.
Oh yeah, stay
And-
away from those. Those are fake.
The profile was created 13 minutes ago.
And she sends them to you. Like, come on, honey.
This isn't. But look, it's such a great deal. The mileage is so low, and the price
Here's
is
your
like.
sign.
I got a funny story about that same thing. Someone close to me that's related by marriage. So
Hold on, let me
they're
cipher this out.
and they wanted to travel the country, and so they started looking at Facebook Marketplace for like
Traveling companions.
Well, like I don't know,
or
like
something?
RVs, yeah,
Okay.
not like a pull behind camper, but like a full out RV.
We should let people know you're holding a firearms right now, so I feel like I
That's-
need to pretend like I'm interested in the story.
But anyways, the price, it was like a Mercedes or something like that, and the price on it was like 18 grand. And conversely, this person was going to sell a side by side that was like one of those 4-seater like Razor badass ones that are like 26,000. And I'm thinking like, do the math because this cost 26,000 to sell, but you're going to get this Winnebago or whatever for 18.
Yeah.
And so at Thanksgiving, we had to have a sit down talk. All the younger family members like, look, this is fake. Like, do not. They're like, we reached out, we haven't heard back. I'm like, do not reach out anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your pension somehow.
We gave him the routing number for our bank account. I don't understand what the problem
This
is.
is not good. So
Yeah.
All right, Matt, I think I know what you're gonna do next, which is apt. I just want to say, Scott, thank you.
Of course.
We'll miss you. We'll still be connected.
Yeah,
but
of course.
we'll miss you.
we are gonna miss Scott. I'm gonna miss Scott immensely, like I said before, because it's a brotherhood, man. Like we've become great friends, not just work companions. We've spent a ton of time together, and we've had a lot of success and failure together. And anytime he's down or I'm down, we pick each other back up.
Yep.
And I'm gonna miss that. That being said, hold on.
I love you, Scott.
Thanks, man.
That being said, I need a new camera guy.
So the corpse isn't yet cold.
I am on the job hunt. In the meantime, my trusted other companion, Ben Stallman's going to help me during turkey season. Ben, shout out. But I do need somebody for the fall. Serious inquiries only, please. Like,
Oh man.
like if you're not willing to be in St. Louis, if you're not willing to, you know, if you don't have that background, like I'm not doing this shit for fun.
I can
Like,
see the job description. One of the line items is impervious to farts.
Yeah, and you bring a gas mask.
Yeah. Do what you gotta
No,
do.
it's really not that bad. But whoever does step up and take that role, they would be in for a really good time. You get to see a lot of cool stuff, film a lot of wildlife. I mean, the amount of deer and turkey that I've filmed over the past few years on your farms with you, like it's been incredible. Seen a lot of cool stuff. So
Yeah, so I'm not saying it doesn't have to be full time. I'd be willing to look at a part time gig for the fall. We've already filled internally the duties that Scott had with the social media side, but the farm side, the filming side, the hunting side, like it's a grind, man. I mean, we're probably hunting 45, 50 days in the fall, another 10 days in the spring. Spring's not as bad, but there's a lot of time out at the farm. I mean, it's not all fun and games.
no, it's not. It's a lot of hard work. But for someone that's looking to get into the industry, it's a great opportunity. I mean, not only are you going to get to do this stuff every day, but you're going to learn from some of the best and have a lot of a great support system behind you to help you learn along the way too. Because I didn't show up here and just know how to do all this. I mean, I start watching the jury videos and watch what Mark and Terry are doing or what Wade and Perry are doing and all those guys. And I've learned a lot from them to help what we've done on Matt's farms. And we're always updating that each and every year. So it's been cool to experience that
Yeah.
and learn along the way.
Great internal system to kind of work through it.
Yep.
But it's a serious role, and I need the serious inquiries to fill the position. So
Maybe a rack packer.
maybe you better be the right person. Though. Like I'm not gonna just take anybody. We gotta spend a lot of time together.
A lot. Yep.
All right, last thing before we go, your chance to win an SXP and $7,000 worth of ye cool stuff. A turkey hunt in St. Louis,
A
Filmed,
turkey. hunt.
edited, guided. Aaron Bennett's helping for anybody that is worried about my abilities.
Just in case.
I could turkey call. Not great with a mouth call. That's where Aaron comes in.
So, man, you
Adult
can rock that
supervision.
slate.
That's right. But hey, time's running out.
Mhm.
Like, what are you waiting for? Your odds are extremely great. It's going to be a fun time. Cool experience. The guys at First Phorm and First Phorm Outdoors, like that experience alone over there at their headquarters, we'll be there tomorrow. It's cool.
right.
It's cool. So it's worth coming just for that.
I will say, if you're looking at getting something from First Phorm, get like the Orange Sunrise First Phorm Energies. That's my go-to drink.
And Screaming Freedom's pretty legit.
Ah! I just picture George Washington screaming.
So
That's my life.
I remember
Alright.
a day when you didn't drink energy drinks.
Yeah.
Either of you guys.
I mean,
Ah.
to be honest, and this is true, I'll drink half of that and I'll stop. I limit myself. I don't drink a lot of caffeine, but I do drink a little bit of this in the morning times to get me rolling for the rest of the day.
And usually you've got a straw and you're holding the can like this.
Like an old person
It's like a
or a
chipmunk.
child.
Both.
Okay.
my tongue hurts.
I bet my Wookiee.
Oh,
all right. We
right.
better close the show. Scotty, I love
Yep.
you. It's been great.
been awesome, man.
I'm going to miss you.
Yep, I'm gonna miss you guys too. Tim, thanks for getting me this job.
Heck yeah.
So it's been a
Thanks
pleasure.
for nothing.
We got 5 years out of them.
Tim, you know anybody else for work?
Yeah, I got a few people on a call list here.
Okay, cool.
We'll see. If
Are
they're
they as good as
me.
Scott?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
In fact,
well, they said that quickly.
Quite a bit better. In fact,
Coming from the guy
Yeah.
with the steak trophy.
Hey,
I do all my
listen,
own stunts.
one last thing about the community poll. Have you went over to the YouTube? You probably haven't had time to.
Uh-huh.
So somebody put up a question. I think it was Joe. Who's better? Who's a better host of the podcast, Matt or Tim?
Oh,
I'm kicking your butt.
really?
And in the comments, it's like the guy that actually kills stuff. I'm like, ooh, brutal.
It's true.
Thought I'd throw that in there.
It's true. No, I appreciate it. On that note,
Let's close out the show, guys.
Scott will miss you. Also, Tim sucks.
Well, Scott brought it up.
It
My
is
bad.
his fault.
My
Nice job. Jackass.
Never gets
I
old.
love that.
All
What
right.
funny.
Until next time. Peace
See
out.
ya.
I love you, Scott.
DeerCast is now supercharged with maps. Get ahead of your game with killer new features like live Doppler radar, wind check out to 5 days, virtual rain gauges, GPS path tracking, and more. Plus, get our 14-day revolutionary DeerCast prediction and access to DeerCast Track. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast. Prep, predict, and pursue your target buck.